dependent and independent sources. Remember, the independent sources, actually, so far I have said sources, voltage sources and current sources. Okay, all the sources I have covered so far were independent sources. Independent sources. Okay, they were voltage source and current source. And now I will define dependent sources. Dependent sources. Let's look what they are. The symbol of this is independent source. This is the dependent source. Minus plus. Okay. And this is dependent current source. What do they do? Okay, independent sources supply they supply constant amount of voltage or current. What I mean is this: independent voltage source, constant voltage regardless of its current. Its current can be anything, but it always supply a constant voltage. Independent current source, it supplies constant current regardless of its voltage. Okay, so dependent voltage source supplies some voltage regardless of its current, but dependent on a voltage or a current of another component. Okay, it supplies some voltage. Its voltage is a function of another voltage or current, another component's voltage or current. And similarly, the dependent current source. Dependent current source supplies some current regardless of its voltage, but dependent on a voltage or current of another component. So consider this circuit. Okay. This component is a dependent source. It's a current source. And its value is 3 times I1. I1 is the current of another component. Okay. That's it. Or consider this circuit. A voltage source, dependent voltage source, its voltage is dependent on another voltage. Okay? So, if you see a circle, it's an independent source. If you see a rectangle, it will be a dependent source. If you see plus and minus in a source, it's a voltage source. Okay. If you see an arrow, it's a current source. Okay. So there are 4 types of dependent sources: voltage controlled voltage source, voltage controlled current source, current controlled voltage source, current controlled current source. There are 4 types of dependent sources. Okay. How to analyze a circuit containing a dependent voltage source? Okay, consider the circuit. Okay. So, question, what's I2 in that circuit? All rules, all laws we have learned so far, Ohm's law, KCL, KVL, okay, or power equation, okay, all of them are valid for dependent sources. Okay, all of them are valid. So you can use, for example, KVL rule. Apply a KVL here. Okay. If you define a voltage, let me say this is V2. Okay. So can you help me how to apply the KVL rule? Start from here. There is a voltage increase of 20. Continue. There is a voltage increase of, from minus to plus, there is a voltage increase, 5I2 plus 5I 2. Then continue. There is a plus to minus voltage drop. Minus V2 is equal to 0. There are two unknowns, one equation. I need one equation more. There is a relation between V2 and I2. Can you help me? V2 is equal to voltage of a resistor is resistance times current. So if you replace equation 2, if you insert equation 2 into equation 1, you will get 20 plus 5I2 minus 10I2 is equal to 0. So 20 is equal to 5I2, I2 is equal to 4 amps. Okay. Consider the real dependent sources. I have given an example and I have said the dependent source is dependent on I2. How can it be? How can this source read the value of I2? In real life, okay, you have to make some connection to the dependent component. What I mean is this: real dependent sources have 4 cables. Okay, these two are outputs. The output, it supplies the voltage, for example, or let me say it can be voltage source or current source. And there are 2 cables more. Okay, if you think a dependent source as a box, it has 4 cables. These are output cable, and these are the cables connected to the dependent components. So actually, in these circuits, okay, there are some cables connected to that component. Okay, there are 2 cables. Okay, so via these cables, it can read the current or voltage of the component that it's connected. Okay, and it's in real life, many times we don't have some components called dependent sources. Okay, you can design a dependent source. It will be a circuit. Most probably it will contain some transistors. Okay, it has some outputs. This is the output, and it has some inputs. Okay, or let me draw like this as a 2-port representation. Okay, it has 2 ports, 4 cables.